Hello and welcome to Euphoria. Today I'm continuing my mini-series on making a modular building based on the Honeydukes Sweet Shop. Honeydukes is one of the two little buildings that are in the Hogsmeade Village Visit Lego set number 76388. But as I explained in the previous videos in this series, these little buildings are doll's house style buildings, which mean that it's a nice looking facade with an open back and some of the interior. But I decided that I wanted to convert this one into a full building, meeting the modular building standards. In this video, I'll be looking at how to build the roof for this MOC. You may have seen from the previous videos in this series that I've already laid out the footprint for the building on a 16 by 32 base plate, so it will meet the standards for a modular building. On this size base plate, it will be half the size of a full modular, in the same way as the pet shop modular building is made of two half modulars. I based the ground floor around the shop front from the original set, with some modifications, then built the rest of the ground floor using mostly masonry bricks. I added a staircase at the back to provide access to the first floor. Then I added a new upper story for the building, which wasn't there in the original set and is meant to represent a traditional half-timbered construction. Have a look at the previous videos if you want to see the development of this MOC so far. So now I need to work out how to build the roof for this MOC. As you might have seen from my previous videos, I wasn't that impressed with the construction of the roof from the original set, although I understand why it was designed that way. In some ways it's quite clever. It is trying to represent a scene from the movie, and it includes the dormer window and unusual turret style roof. But it was only half a roof, and for this MOC I need to create a roof that fits on this building and extends back to cover the rest of the building. There are lots of ways I could do this, and I'm going to think about a few different options. I could try to use the original construction technique using plates. This building is the same width as the original one in the set, so it might work. I've used plates for the roof on another one of my MOCs, the old astronomical clock tower, and it worked quite well. It's just a shame that the roof from the original set overhangs the sides a bit, which is a problem for a modular set, as it needs to be able to fit next to another modular building, so it isn't allowed to overhang into that building's space. It might be easier just to make the roof a simpler shape, with just a single slope front to back, like you see in some medieval buildings. Another way to make a simpler roof would be to use a front gable. I tried that out on one of my other MOCs, this house, currently in my Lego city. That seemed to work out okay, although the Dutch gable style is rather different from the one that I need in this MOC. I could build up the front of the building here using a kind of frame construction in the same way as I did the upper story. For the roof itself, I could use plates at an angle or slope bricks for the roof itself. There are lots of examples of medieval houses using gables a bit like that. I quite like this approach and I might go with this option. I could even include a little window at the front, although the space in the roof will be quite small, so it will only be an attic space really. The other option would be to build a roof that slopes the other way, front to back. It would be more or less like this roof, but turned round by 90 degrees. If I want to include a window in this design, I'd be back to something like a dormer window built into the slope of the roof. I did try various ways to use the conical roof from the original set, but it doesn't really fit into the kind of 45-degree slope of these normal slope bricks. So I do appreciate the issues that the original designers had in fitting that turret-shaped dormer window into such a steeply sloping roof. So although there are some aspects of this that I like the effect of the timber framing, and it would be nice to keep this nod to the original design, I think I might have to go with the other option, which is to have a gable at the front and a roof that slopes this way. So structurally, the gable design is much simpler. I can maintain the wooden framing effect. The roof slopes across the gable here and will extend down the side of the building with an equivalent gable at the back here. However, I think it looks a little bit plain, and what I'm going to do is try to extend the roof out so that there's an overhang over the gable. So this is what I mean by having an overhang. The proper term is the eaves, where the roof bricks just overhang the gable by one stud. I'll tidy up the lower edge of the roof bricks by adding some inverse slopes or arches to provide a nicer finish. Now I'm tempted to try to add the window from the original set back into this wall. Let's try that out. I tried to add the conical roof, but I found it's difficult to match that up with the rest of the roof. I tried lots of ideas, and none of them were really satisfactory. But after a lot of playing around, I came up with this unusual design for the window and the conical roof, which sits quite high in this wall and extends up beyond the main roof. You wouldn't see that on a modern building, but I think it adds an unusual flourish to this building. And even though this is not accurate to the original building, which was, after all, only a film set, I think it keeps some of the quirky character of the building. So far, I've been building this roof on just a few plates round the edge, leaving a hole in the middle, with a view to making this a kind of vaulted ceiling for the upper floor of the building. But now I've got a window in the front, I think I will make this into a full floor again, perhaps with a hole for a ladder to reach the attic here, and then probably, or maybe, try and put a little window in the back gable as well. So that means I need some plates to make this floor out of, so let's have a go at doing that. So I still haven't got any large plates in reddish brown, so I'm going to use these in dark tan to work out the shape that I need, and then see if I can get some plates in the right colour. And what I'm going to do is leave a smaller hole, kind of for a loft ladder or something to get up into the loft, rather than putting a full staircase up to this level. So this is the new floor plate for what will become the top floor of the building. It's basically a 16 by 16 square with a hole in it, and it's made up of a number of plates, supported as usual underneath by a series of 1 by and 2 by something plates. It fits on top of the upper story of the building, like so. Of course, it's supported all the way around the edge by the walls, and across here by the beam that we put on the upper floor of the building here. So now I know how this is going to work, I can get on with the construction of the roof. So now, as I recently bought some more parts in the right colours and sizes, I can proceed with actually building the roof. The first thing to do is to get the floor plate rebuilt in the reddish brown colour that I want to use for the wood framing. Now I've done that, I'll just double check that it fits onto the upper story as it did before. That seems to be okay. So now I can start building up the front gable wall with the effect of the wooden framing that has the same kind of structure as the wall below it, and I'll do the same at the back. Having got the first bit done, I can start adding the roof using these grey sloping bricks, or roof tile bricks if you prefer. And I'm using these small half arch pieces in reddish brown to represent the decorative barge boards that support the roof tiles at each end of the roof. Now around about here I've got to work out the positioning of this strange window again so that it will kind of fit here at the top of the roof, and I think it's going to have to go about there. Which means I need to change this slightly. Okay, let's do that. And then at the back I'm going to have a smaller window set in the kind of eaves of the roof here. So I'll use another one of the 1x2x2 windows to go in there. Now I've realised for this back window I could use one of these windows with an arch which would fit in here really neatly, and I've just found one of these lattice type window panes to go in this arch, although it'd be nice to get one in the kind of pearl gold colour that's being used for the front windows as well. But I'll put that in here for now and we'll see how that goes. It also lets me use one of these arches in medium nougat which came with the original set. It looks pretty good in the top here, but it is a bit cramped by this, so I might just try moving it down by one brick, and that would look really neat. Actually, looking at this again, I think it rather interrupts the effect of this beam. So I'm going to have another little play with this to make it move up again just slightly by like one plate. There, that doesn't break up the beam so much. I think it looks more like a stronger beam, and the window still fits neatly into the top of the gable here. So now I can finish off the front gable. I was a bit worried that from some angles this conical roof was starting to look a bit like a church steeple, but now as I'm building up the roof at the sides, I think it's integrating snugly into the main roof, and although it's an unusual structure, I think it will actually look okay. So now I can finish off building up the rest of the roof. In a traditional roof you would have timbers supporting the tiles themselves, but with these bricks you can just build them up, and once they're in, it's fairly secure. I did also consider putting in a ridge beam at the top here, which would help to support the roof, and unless I build a pillar to support that as well, I'm not sure it's really helping. So I've decided to put one of these pillars or columns in to support this roof beam. I think I will keep this. And if I get this right, I can put it in position over the column on the upper story so that it's supported all the way down to the ground. That means putting it in position about here. Let me check that that's right. No. It needs to go there. Yeah, so in that position it will thrust down through this column into the ground as well. So if that's right, then it supports this roof beam here. That's really strong now. So now I can complete building up the roof around this. Then I can finish off with the ridge tiles along the top here. And I think what I'm going to do is use this curved piece, which is not a triangular piece like these, to finish off the end here, because then I can maybe put some sort of finial on the end here to kind of match this end at the front. So that's the main construction of the roof completed. And I'll just check that it fits onto the upper story of the building properly, as it did before. That's what it will look like when it's all put together. Now, to finish the roof off, I'm just going to add a finial to the front of the turret roof here, and this little semicircular bit at the back here. And I could just use a cone piece in grey or silver like this one, but actually I've found this kind of grenade piece from the Avengers weapons set, I think, which goes on there rather neatly, just to add a finishing touch to the back. And I'll put another one on the front here just to finish it all off. So that's the build of the roof finished. And now I can assemble the whole building together for the first time. I'll start with the ground floor, then the upper story fits neatly on top, and then the roof will fit on top like so, and that's the building construction complete. So I'm pretty pleased with the way that looks. I think I've got the effect of the ground floor in the stone construction and the upper story in this wood and brick infill, looking pretty good. The roof works okay. Managed to keep the little green window in the front and the facade of the shop on the ground floor. I think there are a few details still to sort out. For example, the floor plate for the upper floor is still in dark tan and should be in dark brown. It needs the pavement and a light at the front. It needs the interior finishing off inside the shop and some other details adding to finish off and bring this little MOC to life. So I'll try and do that in the next part of this series. So make sure you come back to see how this MOC is finished off. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the bell to get notified of new videos, and subscribe to the channel to see the completion of this MOC and further developments in my LEGO city.